Ever wish you could just, get the key info on a topic fast without reading for hours?
Yeah. Cut straight to the chase.
Exactly. That's what we're doing here. Today, we're diving into a really interesting guide called 5 Profitable Startup Business Ideas for Namibia. Think of this as your shortcut to understanding some real potential business paths in, well, a pretty dynamic market.
Our mission really is just to pull out the core stuff from this guide, give you a good feel for each business idea, its potential, what you need to think about.
Yeah.
We've got this document. It outlines 5 specific concepts. So let's get into what makes them work, maybe, and what the opportunities look like in Namibia.
Perfect. And just so you know where we're headed, the 5 ideas are, first, a mobile car wash and detailing service.
Bringing the wash to you.
Right. Then a local craft e-commerce platform connecting artisans with, well, the world.
That sounds interesting.
Third, solar panel installation and maintenance using all that Namibian sun. Fourth, an indigenous plant nursery.
Focusing on local flora.
Exactly. And lastly, a mobile food trailer. Street food.
Okay, quite a mix.
Definitely. Now, quick note before we jump in all the money talk. The figures, they're in both US dollars and Namibian dollars, NAD.
Right. And the guide used an exchange rate of about 1 USD to 18 NAD. That was back in October 2023.
Super important point. You'd absolutely have to check the current rate if you were seriously planning anything. Rates fluctuate,
Always. Okay, ready to start.
Let's do it. First up, the mobile car wash and detailing service. Convenience on wheels.
Yeah, what jumps out immediately here is that focus on convenience, specifically for busy people, busy businesses in Windhoek. The guide mentions, a growing middle class, more cars on the road.
Right, yeah.
But it's not just about more cars. It's, well, lifestyles are changing. Time is valuable. So the idea of someone coming to you to wash your car, that's appealing.
Totally. So the guide describes a pretty clear process, right? You book phone, website, maybe an app.
Multiple channels. Then a van shows up, fully kitted out. They use eco-friendly stuff, do the job, you pay right there.
That's simple. And the target market seems clear, too. Busy professionals, companies with fleets of vehicles, residential customers, all within Windhoek, primarily.
So it hits that efficiency need directly. What about competition? Who are they up against?
Well, Windhoek obviously has car washes, static ones.
Sure.
But the guide suggests there aren't that many mobile outfits offering that door-to-door service, so maybe a niche there.
Interesting. What about getting started, the investment?
Okay, the guide breaks down the main costs.
Yeah.
Biggest chunk.
The vehicle.
Maybe around 15,000 US, that's 270,000 Namibian dollars.
Right.
Then equipment, pressure washers, vacs, all that maybe 5,000 US or 90,000 NAD.
And the booking system, website, app.
Estimated at about 2,000 US, so 36,000 NAD for a basic setup.
Okay, so add that up. We're looking at, around 26,500 US or 477,000 NAD to get off the ground.
Gives you a ballpark figure.
Yeah, and keeping the doors open, monthly running costs.
Operationally, the big ones highlighted are fuel and keeping the van running maybe 500 US in a month, 9,000 NAD. And labor, say for a couple of people, around 1,000 US, which is 18,000 NAD.
Plus supplies, insurance.
Right. Factory and cleaning stuff, maybe some marketing, insurance. Total monthly operating costs are projected around 2,150 US, 38,700 NAD.
Okay. And for each wash, obviously, materials cost something.
Yeah, the guy gives an example. Basic wash materials might cost, say, $3 US or 54 NAD.
And you'd sell that service for?
They suggest maybe $15 US, so 270 NAD.
That looks like a pretty healthy margin on each job.
It does. And projecting out, if they manage, say, 200 washes a month.
Right.
At an average price of maybe 25 US per wash, the guide estimates a potential monthly profit around 2,850 US.
Now, that's a projection, obviously. Depends on hitting those numbers.
Absolutely. Just illustrates the potential if things go well.
So if you were setting this up, where would you actually get the van, the supplies in Namibia?
Good question. The guide suggests looking at local dealerships, mentions Pupkiewicz Motors as one possibility for the vehicle.
Okay.
For the specialized cleaning gear, maybe South African suppliers like Gosker Cleaning, or online retailers who ship there.
And the day-to-day soaps and stuff.
Probably a mix. Local suppliers plus maybe some international brands available locally. Seems practical.
Makes sense. Okay, ready to shift gears.
Let's do it. Idea number 2. The local craft e-commerce platform.
Ah, I like this one. It's about showcasing Namibian culture, right?
Exactly. The core idea is an online shop, basically, connecting Namibian artisans directly with buyers all over the world.
Selling handmade crafts. It's about preserving culture, but also creating real economic chances.
That's the dual goal, yeah.
Yeah.
The process they imagine involves a really user-friendly website.
Easy for the artisans to use.
That's key. Let them create profiles, upload good photos, write descriptions, set their prices, manage stock.
And the platform handles the tricky bits.
Right. Secure payments, different shipping options for local and international buyers.
So who are you trying to reach with this? Who's the customer?
The guide points to a few groups. Tourists, obviously, looking for authentic stuff. International shoppers interested in African crafts specifically. And also Namibians, living abroad, the diaspora. People wanting to support local makers, connect with home.
And the need it fills is a central online spot just for Namibian crafts.
Pretty much. Giving artisans way broader reach than just local markets or physical shops.
But what about the big guys like Etsy? That's huge.
True, the guide acknowledges them. But the key difference here is the focus. Exclusively Namibian products.
Oh, the niche.
Exactly. That could be a real draw, both for artisans and for buyers looking for something specific and authentic.
Okay, so what's the startup cost look like for an online platform?
Estimated around $23,000 US total. That's 414,000 NAD.
And where does most of that go?
The website itself. Building a good e-commerce site isn't cheap. Maybe 10,000 US or 180,000 NAD.
Right.
Plus another 3,000 US or so, 54,000 NAD for initial marketing. Got to get the word out.
Makes sense. A good platform is crucial, but so is telling people it exists. What about keeping it running each month?
Monthly costs are predicted around 2,800 US, 50,400 NAD. But importantly, that's before transaction fees.
Which depend on sales.
Exactly. Those ongoing costs cover website maintenance, hosting, more marketing, maybe a small office space, salaries for a small team, customer support, managing things.
So the platform doesn't buy and sell the crafts itself?
No, it facilitates the money comes from commission.
Oh, okay.
The platform takes a percentage of each sale. The guide suggests maybe 10-15%. The artisans set their own prices.
Let's talk profitability then, based on those numbers.
Well, the guide gives a snapshot. Let's say average order is 50 US and they get 200 orders a month. At a 12% commission, the platform makes about 1,200 US in revenue.
But the costs were $2,800?
Right. So initially, the guide points out you could be looking at a loss,
Right.
maybe 1,600 US a month.
That's important to realize.
Very. E-commerce often takes time to build up sales volume, build that customer base. Profitability isn't instant.
Crucial point. Okay, so for this kind of tech venture, where do you find the expertise in Namibia? Website builders, marketers?
The guide suggests partnering with local IT firms for the site development, using Namibian digital marketing agencies, and for office stuff, just local suppliers.
Got it. Okay, let's move to the third idea, tapping into all that sun, solar panel installation.
Yes, this feels very timely, doesn't it? With the global push for renewables.
Definitely.
The core idea is providing the whole package, installing solar systems, and then maintaining them. For homeowners, businesses, farms, pretty much anyone in Namibia.
And it plays right into Namibia's strengths, right? Sunshine.
Exactly. The guide really emphasizes that loads of sunshine makes solar super viable, increasingly attractive compared to grid electricity.
So the business does everything, from checking the site.
Yeah, site assessments, designing the right system, getting the equipment, installing it.
And the aftercare.
Crucial. Ongoing maintenance, support. The guide even mentions maybe offering advice on energy efficiency or helping with financing options.
Making it more accessible. Who are the main customers here?
It's a wide net. Homeowners wanting lower bills, businesses going green, farms needing reliable power, maybe off-grid, even government buildings looking to switch to renewables. The demand is growing, driven by rising electricity costs, plus government incentives for solar.
Is the market already crowded, though? Lots of solar companies.
The guide says yes, there are existing players, but it also stresses the market is growing fast, still expanding.
So, room for new players.
Seems so, especially if they offer quality, reliability, good service. Now, the startup cost here is significantly higher.
How much higher?
Around 61,000 US. That's over $1 million Namibian dollars.
Wow. Okay, what makes it so high?
Well, you need a vehicle for transport,
Yep.
specialized tools and equipment for installation, a decent starting inventory of panels, inverters, batteries maybe, plus office or workshop space. It adds up.
Yeah, I can see that. What about the monthly running costs, then?
Projected around $5,300 US, which is about 95,400 NAD.
Main drivers there.
Sellers are probably the biggest chunk. You need skilled technicians, admin staff, then vehicle costs, fuel, marketing, rent, insurance. The usual suspects, but scaled up a bit.
And the product is the installed system. What's a typical price for, say, a house?
It varies a lot, depends on the system size. But the guide suggests a range for a typical home, 5,000 to 15,000 US. That's 90,000 to 270,000 NAD.
And the cost of the parts for that?
For a smaller system, materials might be between 3,000 and 5,000 US.
Okay, so let's talk potential profit.
Right. If you assume an average revenue per job of, say, 8,000 US, and you manage to complete maybe 3 installations a month,
Okay.
the guide projects a potential monthly profit around 6,700 US after factoring in operating costs and materials.
Again, depends on hitting those installation numbers. Where do you get the panels and gear in Namibia?
The guide names some big international brands: Jinko, Canadian Solar for panels, SMA, Huawei for inverters,
So import.
likely through local distributors or agents. But for things like the mounting structures, the guide suggests looking for local manufacturers or distributors.
Yeah.
Might save on costs, lead times.
Good tip. Okay, moving from high-tech sun harvesting to cultivating the earth. Idea number 4, indigenous plant nursery.
Yeah, I like the sound of this one too. It's focused, isn't it? Growing and selling plants that are native to Namibia.
For gardens, landscaping, and the big plus is they're already adapted, right? Water-wise, suited to the climate.
Absolutely. Super important in Namibia. The guide highlights this growing awareness, people wanting plants that are resilient, good for the local environment, support local wildlife.
So the business would grow these plants.
Yeah, propagate them from seeds, cuttings, nurture them, sell them, and maybe offer advice too, help people choose the right native plants for their space.
Who's buying these?
Homeowners wanting beautiful, low-maintenance gardens, landscapers working on projects, garden hobbyists interested in native species, even environmental groups doing restoration work, or government projects using native plants in public areas. Quite diverse.
What about existing nurseries? Is this a crowded space?
There are nurseries in Namibia, sure, but the guide suggests not many specialize only in indigenous plants.
Ah, another niche opportunity?
Potentially, yeah. Catering to that specific, maybe more eco-conscious market segment.
What's the startup investment look like here compared to solar, say?
Much lower. Estimated around $25,000 US. That's 450,000 NAD.
Okay, what does that cover?
Things like maybe leasing some land, putting up a greenhouse or shade structure, setting up irrigation, buying basic tools, and getting your initial stock of mother plants or seeds.
Seems more manageable. And running costs per month?
Relatively modest too, around 1,900 US or 34,200 NAD, plus rent if you're leasing the land.
What goes into that?
Mainly water, maybe some fertilizer pots, soil mixes, labor for looking after the plants, a bit for marketing.
And the plants themselves, what do they sell for?
Varies a lot. Depends on the species, the size, how mature it is.
Give me some examples.
Okay, small seedlings might be just a few US dollars each. A more established shrub may be $20 to $50 US. Bigger trees, even more.
Then profitability potential.
The guide projects, based on an average sale of maybe $30 US, and making about 150 sales a month. A potential monthly profit around 2,600 USD.
Okay. Where do you get the initial seeds or plants, especially rare indigenous ones?
Good point. The guide suggests looking at local seed suppliers, maybe even research institutions. They sometimes have seed banks or propagation programs.
Ah, interesting.
And for pots, tools, fertilizer, local nurseries, garden centers, agricultural supply stores.
Makes sense. Okay, last one, number 5, the mobile food trailer.
Ah, the food truck. A popular model globally, and the guide sees potential in Windhoek too.
Right. The idea is simple. A kitchen on wheels, offering different kinds of food in different places.
Key advantages: flexibility, reaching customers where they are, and usually lower overheads than a brick-and-mortar restaurant.
So how does it work day to day?
You get a trailer, fit it out with kitchen gear, then you find good spots, business areas at lunchtime, events, festivals, park, open the hatch, sell food. Maybe take orders for pickup too.
Who's customer?
Pretty broad again. Office workers wanting a quick lunch, people at events, tourists maybe, anyone looking for convenient, tasty food. Especially the guide notes, in areas that don't have many other quick food options.
What about competition? Other food trucks, fast food joints?
Yeah, there'll be competition, other trailers, takeaways. But the mobility is the edge, right? You can go where the crowds are, adapt to different events, different times of day.
What's the startup cost for a food trailer setup?
Estimated around $40,500 US. That's about 729,000 NAD.
Where does that money go?
Biggest costs are the trailer itself, and then fitting it out with commercial kitchen equipment, grills, fridges, etc., plus a generator for power.
And running it monthly.
Projected around 3,250 US or 58,500 NAD.
Main costs there.
Food ingredients, definitely. That's a big recurring cost.
Yeah?